Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2016, and the title of today's rant will be Cruz, Trump, and Sanders. The long knives come out. So what we're starting to see right now as we're getting closer and closer to Iowa is that the Republicans are turning on themselves and the Democrats are turning on themselves. A little case of infratricide, is that the right word? How do I pronounce it right? Let's just start out with Trump. So the National Review, a very conservative publication, I believe is that Bill Kristol? Billy. And then who was the leader of that, Rich Lowry, what a dick he is. But 22 conservatives in an article in the National Review, each one of them said, get rid of Trump. He's not a true conservative. He's a showman. He's a huckster. He's a jiver. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a shaman. He doesn't, he's not one of us. He's not even remotely close to being one of us. And we need to get rid of him now. Of course, at the same time, the corporatists on the Republican side are basically saying, hey, if this is what we got, then let's make some peace with this guy because we know we can make a deal with him. And we know that our conservatives' principles will be what he is also going for. We may not be able to get everything like the National Review wants, but we can get a lot out of this guy. So let's take him for what he's worth, and let's run with him, as far as we possibly can. So there's two dynamics going over there, the true conservatives, and I don't mean, the Trump conservatives. I mean the true conservatives, are saying Trump is not one of us. And the corporatists are saying, yeah, he's not one of us, but he might be the best we got, so let's make a deal with him. So where does that leave Cruz? Well, Cruz is out there, basically, let's just say he's one of the biggest dickwads you'd ever want to meet, if that's a good way to describe it. He doesn't know how to compromise, and he never will compromise, and it's worked for him in the past. But now again, they're coming after him big time when John McCain wouldn't stand up for him for his for the birtherism. I believe there was a Senator Burr from North Carolina who said he wouldn't vote for him. Now, a lot of people had said some of this stuff before, but now more of them are coming out and saying it, and these people are conservatives. And of course, that to Cruz, that's just the point that he's the true conservative and everyone should follow him. But just about everyone in the Republican knows that you just can't have the true conservatives vote for you in the general election. You have to move somewhere towards the middle to get something of it. You have to learn your doublespeak so that you can let people think that you're, let's just say, a compassionate conservative and that you want tax relief. Don't know if Cruz has that fine subtlety that would be necessary to attract some of those people who are more in the middle to his side, and none of the Republicans think he can do that. And he's a no compromise kind of guy. So, and his no compromises, he will not compromise ever. So, that's where it is on the Republican side. On the Democratic side, Bernie has taken some flack this week because Planned Parenthood and Human Rights Campaign have both come out in favor of Hillary. And there was a little bit of a whoop-de-doo in all of this because either Bernie or someone in his staff was making the claim, well, there really are mainstream Washington elitists, or whatever you want to call it, organizations. And of course, they're not at all. They have to fight tooth and nail to get what they get to help out their prospective clientele. And both Hillary and Bernie have been big supporters of them for a long, long time. Now, to say that Hillary is that much better, I'm not going to sit there and say that. But Hillary is who Planned Parenthood and who the Human Rights Campaign want to back. They've made that decision and they want to back Hillary. Now, you could say it is sour grapes on Bernie's part. Maybe it is a little bit. But remember, Bernie is surging in Iowa and he's surging in New Hampshire. And of course, the mainstream media is playing this up, even though Hillary has much, much greater backing in the country itself as opposed to Iowa and New Hampshire. And again, remember, Iowa and New Hampshire, I believe, over 90% white in both of those states. Hardly indicative of the type of the average Democratic voter, so to speak. But again, and so he's getting more scrutiny, but that comes with the territory. When you become the front runner, you're going to get the scrutiny. And the question is can he maintain, can he handle that scrutiny? Just like can Trump handle that scrutiny with what's come out with the National Review and Rich Lowry, that guy. And then what is Cruz going to do? Cruz is going to wear it like a badge of honor, that he's more conservative than any of them. And they're all establishment, so you got to go with me. But he has such a small following. One quick thing about Trump is that, these National Review, they know that even with Trump and Cruz, that when it gets to the national election itself, is that they're only viewed by 30 or 40% of the people, meaning that most Republicans are against them. Most Republicans do not want them in office, and they're trying to make a rallying cry to go out about it. Now, the last thing I want to say is, and a lot of this is really going to come down to who has a strong ground game in Iowa and in New Hampshire. Does Cruz have a strong ground game? Does Hillary have a strong ground game? Does Trump have a strong ground game? Because remember, Trump is appealing to a lot of people who've never been to a caucus before. Will they go to the caucus? How cold is it going to be that night? Will they be able to get in and vote? Will they be able to? Because a caucus is different than than a primary. And then, what is the ground game in New Hampshire? Will Bernie be able to get that because he's the favorite son from the next door? Or does Hillary have a strong enough ground game that she can get the voters out for her? Those are things that we're going to see. But both parties now are going after each other pretty big. We're in the big time now.